What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, today I'm going to talk about here, I know it's called Get a Bucket, right? But I want to talk about the TV show called SWAT. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to tie it into basketball, but just flow with me right now, okay? So I was watching SWAT. It was a good show. Went about 8 seasons long. Could have gone longer, keep it a buck with you. But, the broadcast TV economics, it played a part into why the show got canceled. They had a strong, loyal fan base, right? But again, licensing costs, rating trends, those sort of things are the reason why the show got canceled after 8 seasons. So it ended May 2025. However, there will be a new chapter, a spinoff, if you will, called SWAT Exiles. I just heard about it myself, okay? And it was funny because I was listening to the main character describing himself as Tom Brady of the show, right? Again, that's a football term, right? Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady, the GOAT of football, right? That's what the main character, Shemar Moore, he plays Hondo Harrelson to be exact. And he said he was the Tom Brady of SWAT. Which is fair. He's the main character, right? Like that, I get it. When you look at his show or the show on Netflix, right? His face is on the cover. I get it. I hear it. I understand it. Here's the problem. On SWAT Exiles, it seems like there's going to be a whole new cast. Like, yeah, we'll have some of the old cast, returning as special guests. I think 2 of the characters may appear in the pilot and then maybe sporadically through the other episodes. But Shemar Moore is going to be the one that returns consistently. He's the star of the show, the Tom Brady, if you will, the Michael Jordan, if you will. Well, that got me to thinking, are TV shows and sports teams similar? Let's use basketball as an example, right? Let's, again, keep SWAT on payroll, and let's use a team like, I don't know, let's say the Lakers, right? One reason, as my team, and another reason, well, SWAT was based out of LA, if I'm not mistaken. That's where the show was titled for him in. Well, we do have, like I said, Shemar Moore. That's the leader of SWAT, right? Well, Luka is now our quote-unquote leader for the Lakers. Now, he got handed that title, cool, but he's the leader of the squad, right? Like, he's our point guard, so he runs our offense. The center protects the rim, right? Which, we still trying to figure out who the hell our center is, rim protection-wise at least. The coach, shout out J.J. Redick, he designs the strategies. Well, on a TV show, again, the lead actor, Shemar Moore, he carries the central storyline. The supporting actors, they add depth and tension. Again, going back to our center, right? We need someone to protect the rim. Well, on SWAT, they got a decent center. They got a quality shooting guard. They got a quality small forward and power forward. They got a quality bench. We have some issues, meaning the Lakers. The director shapes a creative vision for each episode. Again, going back to J.J. Redick, he's the coach who designs the strategy. So the coach and the director are similar in terms of roles and expectations, right? And again, something like leadership, that does matter. So when we're talking about here, like in basketball, the leadership often falls onto the veteran superstar, which you can argue that's LeBron at this point in time. But I don't think Bron is our leader per se. I think he's on his way out, which is why I say Luka. And Luka, yes, he's responsible for scoring, but he has to be the one that sets the tone in the locker room. Well, on the show, I'm assuming that Shemar Moore, who plays Hondo Harrelson, has to set the tone behind the scenes in a similar role. And there was one of the characters who plays Deacon, and he's actually going to be returning, if I'm not mistaken, for like guest appearances. But he said that he's had conversations with Hondo behind the scenes. So he understands what Shemar Moore means when he says that, when Shemar Moore says he's the Tom Brady of SWAT. Now, you can view that as egotistical. You can view that as being prideful, right? Realistically, though, when we think about it, it's a fair statement. But you got to be careful on how you word things, too, because you can affect your teammates. And that can, in turn, affect the show, affect production on the basketball court. So you got to have trust. Like your players, your actors and actresses have to trust you. Not just you two, but the coaching, the directors. If we can't believe in the vision, right? How will the actors give their all? Like, yeah, we can say because of their own ego, their own pride, they'll give their best. But I do believe you can get more out of your players, more out of your actors and actresses if they trust you as a coach or as a director. So while the leader does have to gain the trust of the players, so do the coaches, so do the directors. And I want to throw management in here as well, too, because they factor in. But trust is very key. Now, in regards to basketball and acting, right? I know there was an infamous saying by Allen Iverson. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Well, practice still makes perfect. And in both sports and acting, practice, rehearsals, whatever term you want to use, they are both needed. In basketball, right? Basketball teams practice constantly. They usually run drills, study film, adjust their plays. They break down defensive schemes and offensive sets. You got a similar thing going on for TV. You can say movies too. But the TV cast, they rehearse their scenes. They do table reads. Sometimes they do workshops where they have emotional, intense moments before filming. Like a basketball team might analyze the previous night's loss, the previous game's loss. An acting cast might rewatch dailies to refine their performance. Or maybe they study someone else's performance to either learn what they're doing so that way they can tweak it for themselves or just flat out steal it. Well, basketball players do the same thing. We watch other people's highlights, see something, oh, that looks smooth. I need to steal that. And they do it. They practice it. Like both sports and acting, they're reviewing performance under a microscope, whether it's their set, whether it's themselves or whether it's somebody else. And they're trying to improve, because remember, improvement is incremental. Like a shooting percentage climbs 1% at a time. An actor's performance, it deepens scene by scene. So neither is really built overnight. Even some of the actors who are really entertainers, well, they still have to perfect their own craft. Like Kevin Hart, as an example. He didn't just become an actor overnight. He had to work at it. He got smaller scenes that he eventually perfected and got better to where now he can act and be a star in the movies. So when we're talking about Shemar Moore for SWAT or Luka and the Lakers, both organizations, both entities have to practice and rehearse. Now, chemistry is everything, and that's formed during practice, during the rehearsal. Also outside of those times too, because you got to be comfortable with your teammates. You got to be comfortable with your actors and actresses. So you've probably heard that, communication is key. You've probably heard people say, oh, this team has great chemistry, or this acting group has great chemistry. Well, like I said, it doesn't just magically occur. It comes through hard work, practicing. On SWAT, you have long shooting days. Chemistry can be formed during those time periods. And when you work with somebody for a long time, it's safe to say you can get annoyed with somebody at any point in time. So the longer you work with somebody, the more annoying somebody can be. You get more familiar with somebody, they become more annoying. Think about your family, right? I'm sure your family gets more annoying after a time, right? You might still love them, but they still get a little bit annoying. Well, it's the same thing on the court. It's the exact same way on the court. The more you hang out with people, the more people can become more annoying. But your chemistry starts to form up a little bit better as well. You get to understand how this person actually thinks, how they tick. And that, in turn, helps your team out, helps your organization out. So now you'll know what scenes your actor and actress needs to be in order to give their best effort. If you want to improve their whole acting career, okay, cool. You can put them in scenes to try to make them do something a little different, get their confidence up in those areas. But you'll know what they're good and not good at simply by just getting to know them more. Same thing in basketball. Like, we know Dennis Rodman probably wasn't the best three-point shooter. I know Jackson Hayes probably is not going to be knocking down three-point shots. He might not even be on the team. I know Austin Reeves is not going to be a lockdown defender, so we probably should not put him against the top guards. Like, if we're playing against Anthony Edwards and the Wolves, I'd like, hopefully, for Luka and Austin Reeves to not have to guard them guys, if possible. You know, like, you get to understand your player. So again, chemistry genuinely is everything. Also, how does an actor or actress or an athlete handle pressure? Like, for an NBA team, specifically in the playoffs too, you're facing millions of viewers, roaring crowds, career-defining moments. Similarly, for a hit TV show like SWAT, you're facing rating pressures, critic reviews, and fan expectations, especially on a major network like CBS, which SWAT eventually got the boot off of. So one missed shot, that can cause a trend on social media. Or you could be like ridiculed like none other. Remember Paul George? Yeah, he had a whole commercial where in the commercial he hits the shot. He gets on the same spot on the floor and hits the backboard, side of the backboard at that, during the playoffs. And then he's called Pandemic Pete. That is ridiculous. One poorly received episode as an actor or actress, that can spark some headlines. So when we're thinking about both environments, right, they require mental resilience. You got to be able to handle pressure. Athletes, you got to train your bodies, but also your mindset. Actors and actresses, you got to be able to prepare emotionally. You got to be able to prepare mentally, because criticism and public scrutiny will come up at some point in time. Whenever the spotlight is on you, you got to be prepared, because it can be unforgiving for both athletes and actors or actresses. Now, the bench and supporting roles, right? This is where it gets interesting, because in basketball, not everyone is the star. Role players come off the bench to defend, rebound, get a nice little assist, or hit an occasional clutch three-pointer. We've seen that. They may not make the headlines, but they win games. So on a team like SWAT, beyond the main cast, there are reoccurring characters, guest actors, stunt performers, supporting roles that bring authenticity to the action. You got to think about like a high-stakes raid scene, right, for example. Without coordinated stunt teams, without the supporting cast, without the lead actors' performances, well, no, because the lead actors, even let's say the supporting cast was trash, but the lead actor did their phenomenal job. Probably wouldn't feel the same, right? So again, that spotlight, it may shine brightest on a few, but the foundation is got to be built by many. And we got to remember that. Strategy and adaptation, right? Basketball teams were constantly adapting. If the opponent switches to zone defense, hey, you got to make sure that you're aware of that and moving accordingly. If a key player gets injured, maybe gets into foul trouble, someone else got to step up. But on your opponents, y'all got to be able to recognize that as well, too. And that goes to the coaches as well. They got to be able to note those things. TV productions, they do something similar. Storylines evolve, characters develop. Sometimes cast members leave and writers pivot creatively. Whether you want to permanently kill that character off or write them off to where they can come back at a certain point in time. You got to be able to adapt. And both avenues, right? We're talking about athletes and actors and actresses. They have to keep both teams and shows alive. If a basketball team refuses to evolve, they fall behind, like my Lakers. If a TV show stops innovating, audiences eventually tune out. So longevity demands flexibility, which is why you must be able to adapt. You also got to make sure that, hey, your performance is top notch. In a basketball game, right? Game night for basketball teams is electric. We have months of preparation that boils down to 48 minutes. For TV, right? For a TV cast, they're filming daily, or episodes premiere not weekly, okay? that has similar weight to a basketball team because they shoot and then they drop the shows. So once an episode airs, there's no changing it at all. It's canon at that point in time. And let's get it clear too. If this was a live performance as an actor and actress, you really have to lock in on performance, which is going back to practicing, which is going back to rehearsals. So you got to be able to make sure that you deliver in those moments. You got to make sure you practice all week or rehearse all month, whatever that cadence is. But when the lights come on, you have to perform. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, you got an individual talent or collective success. That goes back to everything that we've talked about. You got to have a good support structure. Your talent has to showcase. You got to be good, but you got to make sure that your team performs well because talent alone doesn't guarantee championships or hit shows. A basketball team that's stacked with stars can fail without cohesion. A TV show with talented actors can flop without strong writing and collaboration. It's always a blend of talent, preparation, leadership, chemistry, and adaptability, and that's what creates sustained success. A championship team and a long-running show, they both require alignment of moving parts. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next time you're watching a fast break unfold, or next time you're tuning in to an intense scene, right? And again, we're using SWAT as the example. You got to remember this. Behind every smooth play and every gripping moment is a coordinated team. The court and the set may look different. Sneakers versus scripts, playbooks versus storyboards. The core principles, they're remarkably similar between the two. Clear roles, strong leadership, you got trust, preparation, adaptability, and above all else, team chemistry. That's what you're chasing, whether you're trying to chase a title or ratings, because greatness is never a solo act. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of this episode. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you are all having a good one. Take care.